Hey guys, welcome back to LoopDev for another tutorial on HTML5 for beginners. So before we dive into more of the HTML elements, I want to make sure that you know how to inspect the HTML code in a browser developer tools. So in all of today's desktop browsers, there is a secret cockpit of information about what's happening with the website's code and performance. So let's look at it in Chrome browser. Here I've already prepared a demo web page in which I combine a lot of the HTML elements that we have learned so far. I added a little bit of CSS, but do not worry about that for now. So looking at Chrome browser, now I want to know about how this web page is actually built. So as a normal user, I do not have access to this HTML file. I just have access to this web page. So how can I actually look at what markups are used behind this web page? So to do that, I just go and right click on the web page and click on inspect. Or instead of that, I can go to view, developer and click on inspect elements. It's going to be the same thing in Windows, but you just have to find out where the inspect element lies in the menu bars. But usually if you just right click and click on inspect, it will just open up the developer tools. So across the top here, we can see that there's a lot of other tabs with page after page after page, which has different tools that you can use. But for now, let's just ignore all of that and let's just focus on Elements tab. Within the Elements tab, we have got two panels. To the left side, we have got the HTML code, and to the right side, again, we have got different tabs, but mainly we are just focused on his style for now. So style is the basic CSS code that we applied for some of the elements here. So if I click on each of these elements, the style changes because we have got different CSS code for each of those elements. But for now, let's just focus on the left panel, which is our HTML code. So looking at the left panel where we have got the HTML code, I can see here the DOM that the browser has created, which is the document object model. So what happens is when I send this HTML file to Chrome browser tries its best to fix any mistakes that I might have had and creates its own version of the file, which is called DOM version or document object model version. So we can see here in the developer tools, when I hover over the H1 element, I can see that automatically it highlights the recipe. So it means that that recipe is a H1 element. After that, we can see that chicken and recipe, which is another heading, is wrapped within a H2 element. Following that, we have got a paragraph that is within a P element. So here, instead of the contents, we are just seeing dot, dot, dot. To see the actual content, there is a little triangle to the left side. If you just turn that, you can see the actual content of that P element. After that, we have got another heading, which is ingredients, and we can see that it's a H3 element. And that is followed by an unordered list, which is the list items for the ingredients. And after that, we have got instructions, which is again H3 element. And following that, we have got the list items for an ordered list, which is basically the instructions on how to prepare this meal. And after that, we can see that we have got a block code just by looking at it. So here it's again the same case as paragraph. We can see that we, instead of the contents, we are looking at these three dots. To see the content, we just click on this triangle to the left side and you can see the content. Within that, we also have a site element, which is referring to the actual title of the wig. And at the end, we have got this script, which is added by the browser itself, and that is the live reload extension that we have got enabled in our Chrome browser. So we can see that the inspector is representing the DOM tree or the family tree of elements. And that's going to be very helpful. Now, do not worry. Many browsers have developer tools, including Safari, Firefox, Edge, and they all have an HTML panel just like this one. They use the same structure to make sense of different things. Now that we know what is developer tools, remember that we can use developer tools to actually inspect any website on the internet. This is how you can get ideas when you're not sure about what markup to use. You can also, go to that website, find some content that's similar to the content that you're trying to mark up, and use the developer tools to actually find out what elements other developers use, and just use that in your own website. With that being said, remember, for most part, HTML Inspector is used to help debug any mistakes. So let's look at some code that has something wrong with it. So here I've got an ordered list with 5 elements, and they should be counting of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But there's an issue. There's a blank one, and that throws off the counting. That's not correct because I did not put an empty list item in my code. So if we just go to my code here, we can see that we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There is no empty. So let's see why it's actually happening. We just right click and go inspect. So here we can see that the browser is trying to fix my mistake by adding another pair of tags. So if you look at the contents here, we can see that we have got 1, we have got 2, we have got 3, we have got an empty one, and then we have got 4, and then we have got 5. So I can see that there is an issue between number 3 and number 4. And that's why the browser is adding this extra pair of tags. So now that we know where the problem is, let's look at the actual code. So here there's an issue between 3 and 4. So here I've got starting tag, I've got 3, and then, oh, I see my mistake. I'm actually telling the browser to start a new tag instead of closing this one. So therefore the browser was adding an extra pair of tags. So if I just put the missing slash and save the file and go back to the browser, we can see that automatically the DOM is actually fixed. Now we have got 5 items instead of 6. So now we understand that if something is not working in our code or we need to get some ideas from websites on the internet, we can just simply reach out for the developer tools in our browsers to sort things out. So that brings us to the end of today's tutorial, guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, like the video and consider subscribing to LoopDev to get more contents like this. And as always, if you have got any questions, put it in the comment section down below and I'll get back to you before the next tutorial.